Today is going to be a lesson on oil spills and cleanup. So, we're going to talk about environmental engineers and oil spills and the ways that they use to clean up these oil spills. And this lesson and activity is going to be for sixth grade. So, we have our middle school standards here. They are going to include evaluating competing design solutions using a systematic process to determine how well they meet the criteria and constraints of the problem. And the other one that it kind of falls under is analyze data from tests to determine similarities and differences among several design solutions to identify the best characteristics of each that can be combined into a new solution to better meet the criteria for success. Our learning objectives for this will be that students can identify causes and effects of oil spills on the water source, describe different methods that environmental engineers use to clean up water pollution. They will be able to discuss which methods work best during the activity. They will investigate the cleanup of oil spills so they can understand the issues that surround environmental cleanup, and also that students will learn about the effects of oil spills on the environment while putting themselves into the shoes of environmental engineers that have to figure out ways to solve these problems. And this is going to cover our types of cleanup that we're going to use in the activity, and then just a little background information. So the three types of cleanup that we're going to use in the activity are going to be skimming, absorbing, and dispersant. And basically, you're just going to want to kind of preview those terms with your students because most of them probably won't know what some of those mean. And it's a good thing to just kind of go over a vocabulary that you're going to be talking about when you do activities or other lessons. And you're going to want to probably give them some background information. So, an example of that would be like, talk about some oil spills that have happened recently or in the past, and kind of explain why they're bad and what happens to the environment that utilizes the oceans when these things happen and how people have to work together to clean them up. And then that's just our vocabulary again. For assessment for this lesson, after the activity, you can have them discuss and talk about what they saw. Before the activity, you're gonna want to have them like kind of estimate which method they think would work best. And then, they'll be talking the whole time, and you can walk around and monitor what they're doing and ask questions. But the main assessment that I think would be good for this would be to write a paper about what environmental engineers do and what they observed and what they think would be the best method of cleaning up an oil spill.
To demonstrate the significance of learning about how oil spills are cleaned up and why they are harmful, we're going to show students what happens when feathers come in contact with oil. So you would show them a feather being dipped into oil and essentially show them what that looks like, and most of them will see how this is harmful to the wildlife that uses our oceans to survive. In this activity, we are going to simulate an oil spill. And we have our tin full of water, and we have some oil here. So we're just going to pour the oil into the water to create some spills. And we are going to test 3 different ways that environmental engineers use to clean up oil spills. And the first way we're going to use is called skimming. And so for skimming, we are going to use a spoon to skim the oil off the surface of the water. That is one way that we use to clean oil. And the second way that we're going to use is called absorbing. And for this, we are going to use little cotton pads, and we are going to dip it onto the water on the surface to try to absorb as much of the oil as we can manage. And you'll find it fills up pretty quick, so we'll do one more. You can kind of see the oil getting a little smaller. And then the last way we're going to use is called using a dispersant. So the dispersant is a chemical that breaks down oil. And in this case, we're going to use a grease-fighting soap. And so what you're going to do with this is drop the soap directly onto the oil spill, and we're going to watch what happens. And you could see that it moved the oil away from that one giant blob of oil, and so essentially it dispersed the oil into smaller, more manageable areas so that it could be cleaned up quicker.